Good morning, everybody. Markets are just loving this 6+% inflation. Go figure. Oh, maybe better than expectation, but there's nothing good about it. That's for sure. I think that, of course, I don't think anybody changed their mind, but I think it puts a lock that more increases in interest rates are coming. And the market at some point will say, well, that's not going to be a good thing. But right now, their prices are moving to where we thought they would right a week ago. Or at the, last week when they bounced up there. Um, and when they open up here in 28 minutes, and they're going to hit the wall, I believe, when SPX hits 4,000, give or take, a little bit one way or the other. We'll see how that plays out. But that was the upside target up where the 200 MA is lined up with that 4,000 level. I mentioned a few times the big open interest in puts and calls there at that 4,000. And so there isn't much resistance. Well, really, there's like no resistance there, because there's a void up to like 4,048 or so. But with this move up and the premium that they're pumping into these call options, I think it's going to, the call spread here is going to be a no-brainer. And it's kind of, I don't know, it must be slowing down a little bit. I'll look at the futures in a second. Well, there it goes. Premiums 80 by 80, 85 by $1 at 4,085. Even if it gets there, it ain't getting past there, and I don't think it's getting there. That big hole number, they're just pumping up the juice in those options, which is right up here near these two pivot highs. That would be such a monster move from this point to get up there. And like any call spread, you have to believe it ain't getting there, right? And they expire today. So I think that's a no-brainer. I didn't even look at the downside because, what premium might be there. But 38.95, 38.95. I would be surprised if it went there as well. Where it's going to go, I think these puts and calls are going to expire tomorrow. So wherever this goes, I think it's going to just kind of be like stretching the rubber band and pulling it back to this area. Where this is at. So above 40.80, right? And I said 85 is now $1 by $1.20. They're going to pump this up right into the open, maybe give or take. So it's so far away. Just think about how much that would have to move. The average move over averaging of the last few days was a little over 50 points. And I mean, that from here, it's like 80 something points. It's insane. So, I mean, it ain't going to get there, in my opinion. But, you always have to think, is it possible? Well, anything's possible, but it's not probable. All right. Taking a look around. It's kind of hitting this little congestion area there. The S&Ps, they push through the 200. I'm just squishing this up. It's kind of like a wide area up there, give or take. That would be a heck of a move to get up into that area up there. There was the whip that goes on typically on news, and then it's continuing to move up. It's got the void, got a void there. Can it close it? Well, the only thing I think stopping it is that 4,000 level in SPX. And it's not going to be pinpoint. Sometimes they go through, they whip around, they get pulled back in. We never look at things like an absolute level that, it's got to stop pinpoint right there. And so NASDAQ moving up into here. 40.28. Oh, in SPX, Alex, or so what is 40.80 is a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer. The premium is at 40.85 is 80 by 95. It was a little bit more than that. So it at 80, I mean, look, consider the move from here. Right? You have to get up to these highs. And even if it can get there, I mean, just based on a chart, which we are chart traders, there's a ton of resistance here. So you might take some heat on it, but I mean, if you want to use a break below a 5-minute bars low. So yeah, I don't know what 40.28 is. And that 200 is below 4,000. S&Ps, that was below 4,000. So I don't know what 40.28 is. ES 200 MA. Well, is mine in the wrong place? Because mine shows it right here, below 4,000. Are you using an exponential one or a weighted one? Well, I'm just crunching that up to put more, it'll put more data in there. I mean, this is a continuous contract, but maybe that's the difference. I don't know. Yes. Slowly. Yeah, I don't know why it would. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, moving average, whatever it is, the resistance is up here. That's a hell of a long way, and this is where they're at right now, and it'd just be incredible to get there. All right, so let's continue. NQs, they got room to go up. There's wiggle going on here. Remember, they don't have to go up there. Maybe they will. But the idea of creating resistance, don't forget that. And whole numbers. So what does it mean to create resistance? A pivot like this. Well, this is just a whipsaw, but that in this time frame, it creates resistance and support. Not as meaningful, of course, as it would be on a daily chart. But when you get momentum moves, there's no pivots. And that's what creates a void. So what will stop it in here? Sellers supply, right? Based on whatever, move too far. YM coming up into that high there. One market hits resistance. That one starts to pull in and so on. So, we always got to consider both sides. Okay. Russell been leading the way up toward those highs there. And just based on where things are moving, we'll see how they play out by the end of the day. But assuming the way this is moving up, there's going to be more buying and call options, dropping off the old data. This is going to give us warning, Will Robinson. We'll see if this pushes up into these bands at the end of the day. I don't put much weight on it in the middle of the day, but this is telling us, and if both of these are in agreement, be careful, right? Cut back on the longs. Don't be buying breakouts or don't be buying things that have been moving up several days in a row. Sell covered calls, look to sell call spreads. Bitcoin come back up nicely, up into the pivot now, wide range bar, probably going to stall. Dollar dropping here, but dropping into this significant support area. Let's line it up. You can see where it is with the crosshairs. All right, so it's down a whole lot. So when I look at this, where the dollar fell to, right, it tried to hold this area. It failed. Historically, it goes down to the next area. So as it comes into here, I'll assume that it's going to start to bottom out maybe by next week or so. And the other thing I looked at this morning kind of leads me to think that maybe besides the internals, that by next week things, or maybe tomorrow, things maybe start to top out a bit, is while the 10-year is down here, right? Look at what this is. This isn't a climactic kind of a move down on the weekly time frame, but this could turn into a W pattern. So if the dollar flips up and the 10-year flips up, markets didn't like that last year. So let's keep whatever's going on today in perspective. I'm not saying, whatever looks like a good long, go ahead, take advantage of it. But, we'll be looking at this every day anyway. But I'm looking at this and thinking, internals, 10-year coming down here. You can see it's starting to bounce up a little bit, dollar where it's at. And it's not a time to be pressing, the metal, the pedal to the metal. Right. And then remember, I have it here. Airlines have been running up on oil. I mean, that's extended. So the leaders, even if this is going to gap up, right, which maybe it is, it's gapping up. That's got to be a sell. Well, short term anyway, for a long, or selling a covered call or selling a bear call spread. Transports, right, moving up. This will probably gap up into this resistance area. And so the takeaway, part of the takeaway from this is that the size of this move up suggests to me a trading range developing here for a little while because of the depth of this retracement, because it now creates, clear lines that should not be violated, this creating a significant support level and here creating a significant resistance trading range. All right, time is it? Time here. VIX. Where is that? Interesting. I thought it would be lower down here. That's treasuries. VIX. I clicked the wrong one. There we go. So this is down at levels where it's turned up from over the last year. So hooray, inflation is coming down. It's still ridiculously high and so distant from where theoretically, right, 2% where it's supposed to be. So rejoicing over that is like, hey, I don't have stage 4. I've only got stage 2 cancer. Am I going to survive? Well, I think we're going to need more medicine. Sure, Don. So that was the whipsaw this morning. And, we kind of got, we got the 200 up there. Where is that? Is it through the 200? It touched it. It went slightly above. We've got an unfilled gap now. And I still remember at the beginning of the week, we talked about this bottoming action, an SPX target of about 4,000. And we talked about this bottoming action versus this real ugly weekly range expansion negative bar suggesting lower. So, I'm just sharing my thoughts here. That's what I do every morning here. And one of the thoughts would be, if today turned into some kind of a rout and this weekly bar turned into a topping tail, just take that and just realize that this could be a buy setup that fails in a really ugly way. So far, we don't know. But look, bars that are in the process of completing themselves, we can't hang our hat on any of that. But when I see this pattern, I think, well, what would have right now? I'm like, that looks like it can go up to the highs here. What would have to happen to change that? Well, this current bar turned into a red bar, a topping tail. This gap reversal. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it did, that suggests, well, a move down to the bottom of the trading range. So we'll see how this all unfolds right now. So far, it looks like some kind of a trading range developing. Our market internals, I assume that this is going to go up into the bands just based on today, and we're going to get this warning, caution for longs, sell them, do whatever you're going to do, risk increasing for long setups. And we'll see how it all plays out. The 13-week there, kind of hanging up there, give or take. So crude oil even up a little bit in gold, of course, with the dollar coming down where it is. Gold just made a great move. But this is coming up, and the dollar catching up with, not the dollar, gold catching up with silver that led the way up, and now this is up at that pivot high, that resistance area. So, dollar coming down to where we just looked at, this big support level down here. So be careful. Right? You got longs, tight, put a tight leash on them, maybe sell into this gap up this morning. We'll see how it all unfolds. All yours, Dan.
Good morning.
Hey, your mic sounds good today, Dan.
I was just gonna say I got a new mic. And
Sounds great.
tell me how it sounds.
Awesome. Sounds like you're ready for a radio host kind of things.
Definitely.
Hmm.
We can talk about the launch of our new ETF. The Machine Gun's gonna set up for us. So yeah, I'm in trail mode here on everything. Amazing, relatively flat open here. Remember Alex said yesterday, oh, there's no way we're gonna open flat. I'm like, well, I had no freaking idea. So, there you have it. So, the big watch list here, Bitcoin. Like, okay, so these little Bitcoin stocks are moving. I wanted to do a spread on that little gap up on Monday. And possible bottoming pattern that was yesterday's MT Live. But that could have been like Goldman here, we're long, so I'm watching it just to look to sell a cat also. The sound is worse. It is now. Then see, then that's my computer. It's definitely a computer problem then. Because it's brand new mic and it sounded great per Greg when I started. All right, Marvel bottoming pattern with a big void. It's been lagging, obviously. Anything that, so that's the dilemma. And what I can also do, well, we know it's not the Yeti. So it's the computer. Let me try putting it in the other jack again. Hold on. All right, we'll try this other USB port. So the dilemma is, this is a great pattern, as a bottoming pattern, price void, but anything that's, hasn't been rising relative to broader markets, getting tired with the internals, that Greg showed is the tide going out going to prevent even those from moving up. MP had earnings, another bottoming pattern, price void, a little bit similar to the other one, but a pretty sizable gap here. Almost up to this 50 MA, so that would have been my target. ESM earnings gap in that 85, no setup. This is a nasty downtrend. It was well, it's light volume, so I'm not gonna even worry about it, but this is the type of pattern that if it could negate, like take out Monday's high, I wouldn't even touch this thing over yesterday's high because the downtrend is too powerful. But if it were able to take out the week's high, then it could possibly be a double bottom, new low plus, light volume. GXO, I think, reaffirmed some numbers. Yeah, it's up a lot. Bottom pattern on the weekly, that's a big old inverse head and shoulder. Just need a daily setup. I'll watch it. That has potential. Housing, KBH, earnings getting down. That's a bear in reversal now. That's a call spread candidate and a day trade short idea. 30-minute low. No volume. Logi had earnings. That's getting locked. Now that's a nasty gap. It's getting to the 200 here, and we'll just see what it does. It's an ugly gap. Max mentioned this one at view. We need a pullback though. It's a beautiful bottoming pattern on the weekly. 180 reversal. CVI. You know, I like these. Another bottoming pattern broke out, a little buy setup. I'm going to set an alarm at 3180. Paychecks broke out yesterday. That's a catch-up trade. All the four horsemen pulled in here. They're slopping around, but maybe 30-minute high. If the markets take that 30-minute high, this looks great. Target 200. Greg mentioned run yesterday. Some of the solar stocks have been moving. Max mentioned this. Berkshire got B, the range going sideways. Same with CMCSA. It's far from the 20, but I like the greater than 100% retracement going sideways. We found this. Keep scanning yesterday for beat up stocks, bottoming patterns, big double bottom on a firm. And the Yeti broke out. That looks great. I like all the converging MAs. That looks really good. I'm going to set an alarm 4425. I had an alarm on Tesla go off over yesterday's high. I like that as a bottoming pattern, maybe another put spread. I'm going to set an alarm at 125. Carvana, I gave as a short put opportunity. I also gave this Home Depot. Here, Home Depot looks good. Look at that beautiful breakout. Low also. We're still short puts on this one, but I would have given that as a direction yesterday. Had I took my eye off. but they both look great. ROP, ROP, closing breakout. Daily weekly looks good. Starbucks, bullish consolidation after breaking out. 30-minute high, that looks good, long. Opalex bottoming pattern, just churning its way up, but another bottoming pattern. Whiskey Yankee would be a good spread idea. Nova, double bottom, new low plus, igniting, another absolute no-brainer put spread. That was the theme last weekend. I mean, I was 100% bullish on last Friday's close, provided we didn't retrace more than 40%, which we didn't. They were just put spread galore. I haven't seen this many, and it's like just shooting some spiders here. So today's an ideal 30-minute high day for day trading. There's a lot of slopping around going on. VeriSign closing breakout, that looks great. 30-minute high. SE, we found yesterday an MT line bottoming pattern on the weekly. Go off. Pattern daily, weekly. And these are good for market debate anytime. Well, it's a mix. It's exactly as the alert says. That's the instruction. And you can't trade options pre-market. So yeah, it's that's posted. All right, firm talked about. Carvana, Sierra Golf. I posted this one as a long. Another big W bottom on the daily. XVI I posted as a put spread too. Give you that. Yeah, here's our LOW taking that. Feeling. Berman. Berman was a nice 180 breakout. Play we're watching as a climactic sell setup. PPL broke out. Yeah, I would love this setup if it didn't have that big tail. Cat alarm. That looks great. Smooth stuff. Yesterday's low. We have a put spread 247.12. $1,100. Bitcoin slopping around all over the place.
STX reached the top of the trading range. Probable call spread. I don't know if there's any juice. I haven't looked.
Go ahead and close half of cat.